Alright, everybody, welcome to the 804 podcast. I'm Nick.
Jesse.
Alex.
And today we have Daydream.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Daydream and my brother Flash.
What's going on, everybody?
Man, we're doing good. No complaints. You know, it's a little bit of a rainy day, but you know, we in there. Actually, I enjoy rainy days.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I like to enjoy rainy days and sad music.
Hot tears. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little, I might have to keep one out.
I feel like rainy days is perfect for like listening to like The Weeknd, just like stuff like that. I've been listening to like Harry Styles too. I don't know if any of y'all mess with the Styles, but
The Styles.
Okay. Right, yeah, we're aware. Right, that's what's happening in the streets. Right,
nah, that's what's happening in the burbs.
My dollar.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Yeah, gas already $18. Right.
Minimum wage price.
$18 might get you.
Before we get carried away with numbers, I don't know what we've been doing this, man. How many episodes?
Alright, so let's see. We started back in 1802.
God damn.
1802. That's when we started the podcast.
They was
pretty old, weren't we?
Yeah.
Somebody knows.
We were still picking cotton.
Hold on real quick. Yeah, we about to do something real quick. Give us like 2 hours. Yeah. Okay, bet.
Nah, I gotta applaud you on your productivity. I was pitting cotton in the morning and doing podcasts at night.
Hey man, we was getting it out. We was getting it out.
I'm not gonna say
The first episode of the podcast, they was doing it, they saw
this nigga, how long we been doing this? So I asked him one question.
1802. So I want to say the episode that we on is 126.
1802 to 2020.
That's what you got to say. That's the word, man.
Right.
See Birdman?
Hey, tight up. We're not going there.
All right. We got a cool today, anybody? You got something?
Come on, 1802.
1802.
Yeah, we usually have a cool today. Yeah, y'all got anything? It could be a lyric. It could be just something that comes to mind, a quote, a phrase.
All right, I think I got a little something.
Go ahead.
People love to say you'll never make it on your own, you see. Every single day I'm working twice as hard, so I know I'm free. Things don't change overnight. Nothing happens without time. We keep both eyes to the sky. I spread my wings and I try to fly.
Respect. Might bring the
Shout out to I Wish. That song is out on all platforms.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah, right, yeah."
I just thought I was freestyling that. My bad.
Well, you know, we have nothing we do with the quarter days. We don't let niggas just say shit, you know what I mean, keep it moving, right? Yeah, so what does that mean, obviously? Yeah, that's all on platforms.
Okay, basically it's from a song I have called I Wish, but it basically just means to, you know, believe in your dreams, stay focused, and just be willing to put in the hard work to achieve anything that you want in life. Work is work. Yeah, work is work. Can't escape.
Well said.
Alright, let's get into this podcast. Let's get it, Nick.
Alright, so first off, Daydream, Flash. How did y'all get into doing what y'all do?
Ooh, that's a good question. He started before me.
Oh yeah, I mean, but musically, we always been kind of musically inclined. You know, just of course going to the church there. You know,
You already know. That's all right.
No credit at all.
I was like, oh, is he over here finishing your sentence?
Barbara. Yeah.
They just like, alright. I don't see what y'all see when you're ready. Look at that nigga.
Oh,
Yeah. What's up?
but yeah, Yeah, so you know, we kind of started out just making music, liking to just be around music. Of course, like I played the drums first, honestly, before anything. We at our last show, I was playing the drums too, just as a drummer. Like honestly, I wasn't even performing. So like that, just like being able to like do that. That's mainly like how we got to this point, just staying in it. Like our families have had groups, like music groups. My dad was like a manager back in the 90s, like in a rap group, a hip hop group back in New York. And you know, we was doing our thing back then, you know what I'm saying?
My dad is definitely one of the like original OGs of hip hop. Like he was in New York when they created it. He was like, yeah, I was there in the basement.
I remember when DJ so-and-so scratched the first round. He said, hey, you want to create hip-hop with me today? I'm over 13, 19. Come on, sure, I'll create hip-hop with me right here. Yeah, sure, I'll make hip-hop. Like, let's make this. I remember when the first parody hit the streets.
That man said hip-hop, and he said, yo, you on to something. That's it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So like that's really how we got into it.
Just that, and you know, just staying with it now. You know, a lot of people like music, but we just actually trying to like do something with it more than just, you know, trying to spread the art, create some culture, community, unity. You know, that's really what it's about at the end of the day. You know, that's how we got into it, really.
Yeah, I mean, the clip to add on to what he was saying. He, you know, he started as a producer, and you know, he's a little bit older. He's like producing, so he was producing for some other artists in Richmond and stuff. And like, you know, I would go with him to the studio session, like when I was in high school, and I would like be behind the scenes. Like I was too shy, like I was writing rhymes, but like I was too shy, like going to mic. So like I'd be behind the scenes, like just studying, like listening, thinking like, okay, like all right, that sounds good. I don't think I would do that, or I would do that if I was like an artist. And so eventually got to the point where, you know, it was time to graduate high school, and I was just like, all right, I really know I want to do something in music, and I don't want to be like somebody who's like a has-been. So I was like, I gotta go. I just decided to like start recording music, and like that summer I recorded my first couple of songs, and it was rough though. Like I'm not gonna lie, I sucked. Like I had some trash. But what happened is like I accidentally made like one good song. From there, I was like, all right, I gotta keep going. So
it's been a process. Honestly, it's been a long process for real. Like to really feel like you're actually doing it. Like you know what I'm saying? You feel like you're what you mean. I feel like sometimes like when you're doing the music thing, it's like you waiting for some success, like, but you just gotta kind of do it just because it's what you do. Like so that's where we're so like that's kind of where we're at right now, just kind of just doing the music because it's what we love to do. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So where can we find all those first songs?
I mean, honestly, you can still find it. It still exists.
I would say not to start with the first song. I would say like start with like what's on my like Spotify or like what's on the Apple Music. Like, and you can basically just search up Daydream, S-D-A-I, Dream. And it'll come up and you can listen. I would say start there.
Then go back and be like, okay, I see. He did have potential.
Yeah, I was producing on those tracks, and I was, you know, still trying to get good. So
we got
it's like, you know what I'm saying?
We got to listen to the progression.
Yeah, so that's really what it is. Like you really get to see the growth, like progression. Like a lot of our old stuff is still up, like still up.
Yeah, we keep it up.
It's not like we really take something down. It's part of it's part of the process. Like you know.
I got one. What was it like first time like stepping in the studio? Like first time like okay, I'm about to like do something on the mic. So what was that like? And both of y'all can I guess answer. You know, like,
I was terrified. I was like absolutely scared because I was always I'm an introvert, and so before music it was like I was always just super shy. So like even to hear the sound of my voice through a studio speaker was like terrifying. I'm like, turn that down. Like I don't want to hear nothing. So yeah, I was honestly just terrified. Like I didn't have the confidence with it yet. What was your experience?
I mean, I remember like the first time he came to the studio was with one of our other homies, Wayne, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we had it was like like a first time being in a major studio too. Like, but other than that, like first memory I have of a studio is like my dad's kind of set up in the basement that we used to have, and he would just have people coming in and doing sessions in the basement type shit. So that's really what I like my first kind of memory of like thinking like, oh, this is like people do music, like you know what I'm saying, like, oh, this is a studio. But like other than that, yeah, I think like we probably our first major like real studio was probably the same time. Like, yeah, but some time was like, let's just make some songs, like let's record some songs. So yeah.
Well, I'd say one question is, what's the hardest part about your career?
The hardest part about our career, or the hardest part about making music?
I guess
Career.
The ins and outs.
I would say the hardest thing is, I would say right now is consistency. And I would say the hardest thing is consistency, especially like right now we got like a company called House of Cards VA. Proud of this. But basically,
Copy merch.
But basically, I would say the hardest thing is like we're trying to build a team is like consistency. Like I'm pretty sure you guys probably experience the same things where you have people on and they kind of there, not there. So you know that happens like through the process. You got to figure out who's going to be loyal, who's going to be willing to do the grind. There's a lot of grind. Like there's a lot of like what people don't see like behind the cameras and all that stuff. Like all the hours you spend into editing content or brainstorming ideas or planning different things, events and stuff like that. So that's the hardest thing is like the consistency of like trying to get everybody on the same page and then continue to do, like you might do something good one time and then it's like, you got to bring people back on board to keep doing it and keep doing it until you get to a certain level of success that you want to get to.
It's the hard way. One of the hardest things is consistency. It's what people take, a lot of people take for granted, like being consistently good or consistently able to do a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Just people, or at least to your own standards. Like, a lot of it for us is just like consistency for our own standards, not even just for like, other people. Just like a lot of creatives I know are very hard on themselves personally. Like, that can be a really big like hindrance. Like when you're trying to be consistent, it's like, dang, I can't even get rolling because, you know what I'm saying, you're not where you want to be in the beginning. Like,
Right.
so yeah, that's like really one of the toughest things. Like so many people start and stop, and that just kills you. Like that joint's not going.
Yeah, and I always say the best ability is dependability. It's like you gotta be dependable and be able to fulfill your obligations to certain things. Like if you commit to something, you gotta make sure you show up on time, show up ready to work. And sometimes you're gonna have to show up ready to stay later, especially if you're like a leader in a leadership position. You gotta be prepared for any sacrifices and all that stuff. So.
You gotta sacrifice a lot. That's the main thing. Like y'all know, like we all creatives, like you sacrifice a lot. People don't see that. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't ever see the sacrifice.
You just be making them little videos, little cameras, making them little songs.
Yeah, whenever they say them little videos or little songs, like say little again.
I'm on little time.
Right.
You're moving with your uncle and auntie now.
Like that's the biggest thing. Like that's crazy.
But it's humbling though.
Like anybody that's ever started, like everybody has to start from the bottom, and the people that don't start from the bottom and build it, they usually fall apart when they get to a certain level because like you don't appreciate it as much as somebody who had to create it from the ground up.
Necessarily. Yeah. If you never learn those lessons.
For sure. Like there's like a certain responsibility that comes with trying to build something from the ground up.
I got one for y'all. So you talked about like being a leader and consistency and like also being a creative. How do you what is you all's personal way of switching from that like business behind the scenes like leader role? Because you guys do more than music, of course, and also going into like switching back to the creative role and then vice versa, like how do you guys personally do that?
That's a good question. I would say that our process is
the process. It is definitely a hard switch, and like right now it's something that I'm personally experiencing for like really like the first time because I would say like mostly this year, this is like the first time in like the last 5 years where I've barely been in the studio to like work on music, like for myself. Like I've just been doing like networking events and all this stuff, and like just different things outside of like actually, you know, being in the studio and working on music. So like now my process is like, oh, I gotta like shut some of this stuff down and take like, I feel like I need like a good 2 weeks where I'm just like off of everything. I'm not doing any meetings, not going to a bunch of events. I can just sit down and like write and try and get back into a creative space. Like
it's balance, like really. It's kind of hard to find that balance. So, like that, like work is like trying to find that balance between like being your creative and then also the business side is hard too. Like that's really the main. If you can line those both up, that's where you can really like lock in. But it's like the balancing that, and then also trying to balance like personal life, like your private life, like you know what I'm saying? You want like you don't want to have to sacrifice one for the other, like you know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to do all of this, like be business, be creative, and also have time to like you know have family, have friends, you know relationships, like you know what I'm saying? All of that, like that's balance, like and that I feel like that's just what y'all was saying about, you know what I'm saying? That's one of those things that's kind of hard to achieve, like.
Yeah, I would say like
leading.
I would say the biggest thing in trying to get like into that creative space, especially because of like how intimate we try and like I try to write the music and we try and create our music. It's like the biggest thing is I call it like sober thinking, where it's not necessarily mean like sober as in like no drinking, no smoking, but sober as in like okay, I gotta like be a little bit detached so I can like hear my own thoughts, like hear myself speak and think, and like really get in tune with what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what's on my mind. So I would say that's like a big thing, is just trying to be in a place of like somewhat sobriety where it's just like, all right, like I'm focused in a creative level, I'm thinking, like I'm allowing myself to think thoughts and stuff. So
I'll say, what is y'all's best performance?
Our best performance, man. We got a lot of good performances. We got a lot of bad performances too. Not a lot, but everybody's done some bad shows. Like everybody, but we're gonna talk about the good shows.
Yeah, I performed when you just said, yo, I want to perform this song 4 more times. The one that you guys came to was actually a really good one. I don't want to, give too much shout out to the people behind that performance, but you know what I'm saying? But the one, so I'm gonna try and transition that a little bit.
But I'll say one of our best performances, we did this one called, we had this showcase called the 804th Dimension Showcase, where we got a bunch of up and coming like hip hop artists in our city to like be on the show, and so it was really cool because like
we put it all together ourselves. That was like our first major show, really our first show we ever did, and we just kind of was like got some homies who was like rapping and having some motion in the city. And was like coming up and just starting.
Like it was like what's interesting about that show is like it was like one of our it was really like my first time doing a headline set, and it was also like a couple of other like hip hop artists like first time really doing like a crowd like that. Like we had Smith Knight on our set.
Killing it.
Yeah, like that was before he officially like blew, and so it was just like
we had Wild Pack.
Yeah, we had like a lot. It was just a really good energy, and like we were all. And the most humbling thing about that show, which made it feel so good, is like we all had to like actually go like door to door and like sell tickets and pass out flyers for our own show. So when we got there, we saw like it was like packed out. We were like, yo, like people actually like came. That's crazy. Like so, that was a very inspiring start for us.
Yeah, that was the one that probably sealed us. Like, bro, we gotta do this. Like. We literally out there in Carytown, like literally on the block, just giving out flyers. Like, yo, we freestyling for you don't think you can rap? Bet, we'll spread for you right now. Like, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, one night we went out there with some dude like playing the ukulele, and he was just like, we just started freestyling over that. Like, people started pulling out their phones and stuff. So
we was like, bro, we gotta do this, man. Like, so it ended up being a good show too. Like it's pretty successful. Like we had sold a lot of tickets. Like people bought some like snacks. Like people came together. Like we didn't think people was gonna like pull up, and they showed up to help us out. Like so, it was a good vibe. That's what I want to do another one, honestly. Like later on, hopefully, if all is willing, we get some big artists and really do something for the city.
And like honestly, that show made me want to do like more records for like females.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, cause like, that was the first time, like, that was like the first time I ever did like a record for like girls and stuff like that. And so to see like that type of response, like they was all like singing along and like really vibing to the song, I'm like, I'm like, every album gonna have one of these.
Solidify himself as an R&B artist.
Yeah, like, I'm doing that bad, so.
Yeah, man.
Sure. I got one question. The name, Daydream.
The name, that's good. So the first part, yeah, that's the rest of the show.
Yeah. Y'all like your headphones on? Y'all want now? I got my specs back. Yeah, put the clothes on. Yeah, we back. Yeah, let's get it. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. You stupid. Yeah. Let's see some let's off real quick. Yeah, we've been waiting, man.
Great, go, yes, he's standing.
Alright, the name, Daydream.
So yeah, the first part of that, Daydream, DAI, comes from my middle name, which my middle name is Daquan. So that's that DAI part comes from that, but also Daydream comes from, that's just something that I did a lot, like especially growing up like in class and stuff, like I'd be zoned out. Like I've always been like very much of like an introvert and like a deep thinker, so like I'll just be like zoned out, like staring out a window, just daydreaming and stuff. So that's where a lot of like my writing comes from. It's just like just thinking.
Alright, so I got one question I ask all artists that are in the city. What's one positive, what's one negative about the city?
That's good. Let's start with the
You go ahead,
You can hit the answer if you want to. Yeah.
You
gotta get the answer.
I would say a big positive with this city is that there is a huge community of just creative people. Like there's truly just some really creative people in the city.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely got some of the most.
In every type of aspect, whether it's like fashion, music, film, art, theater, like there's so many creative people with so many good ideas. Like in podcasts, like you guys are obviously doing your thing. Like there's like just a lot, a huge flow of creative talent. I would say one negative is that I think sometimes people get in the mindset of it becomes like a thing where it's like where a certain group of people might find a huge amount of success in something, and because of the way maybe they had to get it where they weren't embraced by the people before them, it makes them hesitant to share some of that information. And I feel like that's a detriment to overall the culture, like especially like us as like black creators. It's like I feel like we can't afford to not share information because a lot of these like corporations and executives, they know this information, and whatever we don't know when we go to meetings and stuff, is they're like trying to extort us or like finesse us out of it. Like, that's why so many of us get in like these bad contracts and just awful situations because like we just don't have the knowledge, and it's like those of us that do, we'll be hesitant to like share some of that knowledge and stuff.
I mean, we kind of feel the same way. I mean, he's really spot on. Like, I mean, as far as positives, like, there's a lot of positives. I feel like in the city, I feel like people overlook the positives in the city, and I feel like that's one of the negatives of the city is that people don't really appreciate like what Richmond is for what it is. Like people like Richmond is not gonna be New York. Like Richmond is not gonna be LA. Like, and that's cool. Right. Like, that's fine, bro. Like, that's cool. There's still opportunities here for everybody, and there's enough for everybody to eat. I feel like it's a lot of like, oh, you can't sit with us, or if he eating, somebody else not gonna eat. Like, it's enough for everybody. Like, we can all win. Like, I think that's what people don't understand. Like, we can all win, bro. It's not a shortage. Like,
not going
yeah, at all. And like, I feel like there was work people like community. Like, I want more community for the city. Like I'm happy to be able to link with like y'all because I feel like in any capacity, like helping y'all film, like and just being around, like just because I know we all we got to support each other. Then that's what like we all we got as creatives. That's real. We all we got. Like. If we don't support each other, then who else is? Like, we're gonna keep expecting, oh, they not showing me love, they not, like,
Yeah, I would say another thing, and I don't want to focus too much on negatives, but I would say one other thing is like, I don't like when creators try and like overcharge other creators for like certain things. Like especially when it's like you're in a similar position. It's like,
yeah, like he did that. Extra. It's not about working for free. Like, don't even get confused because everybody's getting like compensated. You know what I'm saying? You should get paid what you're worth. Like, I get that. Go get what you're worth. Yeah. But at the same time, there's other like. If it's all about money, okay, go ahead and get your coin. But if it's really about building and like building relationships and networking, then let's network. Let's work something out so we can both win. If you want some money, okay, let's see if we can work something out that you can get some money out the deal.
Now what if he's like, yeah, I want both. I want the network and I want all the money. Yeah,
and it's like that.
And some people do want that, but to me it's like if you want that, then you gotta create it yourself. Like if you want to be the network and get all the money, then you gotta be the one who's the net. Like you gotta be the network, and you gotta put everybody else on. So there's like that flip side of it. Like you can't be in a position where you need opportunity or you need certain access. Like you need to tap into a certain network, but now you're trying to like flip it on people and overcharge. So that's the one thing that I would say like I don't appreciate when people do that. Like it happens like. I'll say like it happens on the music side where it's like somebody will like try and charge you for like a verse or a feature and it's like, bro, like I was trying to work with you because I just enjoy your music. Like I don't need your feature. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not to be disrespectful, but it's like you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you do. Yeah,
I did I said it. I'd be like, nah, like I can't afford it.
But I want money.
I'm good. Like I'm like, yeah. So yeah, it's not even about money because we've done a lot of work for free. Like it's not even about like okay, like get what you're worth, but at the same time, budget.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking about all of a sudden. Yeah, I give you real free.
Yeah, they'll be like, what's your? You ask them how much they charge it, and they be like,
people don't have like set rates. It's like, it depends. It depends on what. And it's like, how much I think I can get you for it. Basically,
what's your tank looking like? Yeah.
How much do you have? Right now.
I got about 5 on me. Oh, yeah, 5. Yeah, got it.
You say, 5. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
5 mil, right?
I'll ask y'all your honest opinion. What's it? Maybe 24. What's the best project y'all heard from Richmond artists so far?
That's
Are we talking about just like this year? I don't know.
This year
so far.
Man, I'm not terrible because I feel like I don't know who came out this year.
There's been a few drops, but I really haven't been super like listening to everybody's to know who's the best. Like I listen to it. Yeah. If it inspires me and it like you know what I'm saying, if it's somebody who like I really vibe with it.
I would say my favorite in the last 2 years to make the question a little more broad.
Okay, I'll open it up.
Yeah.
Best 5 projects out of the last year. From last year to now.
From last year to now, okay. Yeah. I'll say Monet's album. What was that called? 777. Yeah, I like that. I would say Smith, North Chesterfield, 10K Zuri, As the World Burns, right? Who else came out that I really liked? I'm trying to think what else from the city.
I mean, we dropped.
I really like that. I'm not gonna lie, I really like Daydream, Juvenile Soundtrack. I think that was too.
Yeah, Money Made. Who else we got?
I gotta say, what's my 5th one? I know I'm gonna look back and just be like, damn, I left somebody out that shit. But
I need to pull up my.
That's the hard part when you got like relationships with these artists too. It's like, man, they're gonna. I know they're gonna.
I'll give you a lifeboat. Nick, what's your best one so far?
Best one?
Yeah, I'll save you. So far, you said May 20. Oh shit, bro. But May, don't worry about that. May 24th as of now.
I'll give you one.
Yeah, that's one.
I did like like Smith Knight's No Chesterfield.
Actually was.
In my opinion, it was an underground hip hop, Richmond hip hop classic. In my opinion.
Smith Knight come on the show.
Yeah, facts.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, actually.
No Chesterfield. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah. We got anything else? We can give these topics real quick.
I think who else I could shout out? What other artists I could shout out that I listen to? Shout out to Sook. Shout out to my boy Batman T. He produced for Good Meat. Shout out to my boy Glizzy. He dropped the project last year, and his jump is like trap, like banger. Shout out to Toon. Toon be going crazy.
Bro, last year, like, Toon dropped so many albums.
I gotta catch up with
Tim and
RJ.
RJ stack up. They've been going
Yeah,
crazy.
shout out RJ. Shout out RJ. He always shows us love too. So yeah, there's a lot of people that we work with in the city that we trying to.
Something, snow outside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, go check out the short film.
Something definitely like that. Because at first I was like, nigga, what? I was there too.
Yeah, every time I see bodyguard snowboarding, I
Yeah, shout out there, man.
That's hilarious.
He did. Alright. Shit. Y'all been keeping up with the playoffs?
Yeah, just
just obviously, because there's no point to keep saying recapping games, and then by the time they come out, it'll be a whole new series. So I guess I would say, who y'all got making it? I'd say to the finals.
I meant to be a finals. Yeah.
I had the Celtics and the Warriors from the beginning. I got the Warriors win the whole thing.
Yeah, I definitely got the Warriors just because like
It's just not looking.
the Warriors just are a great team. Like they keep getting better. Like I don't know. Like or they just stay like you know.
They're the Spurs of this generation. Like you know how the Spurs, like even though they was old, they just kept making it to the finals.
Yeah,
Like I feel like that's what they are right now.
I think this is gonna be the Celtics like first like real shot at it. Like they're very young and they're like been good. Like they got to the Eastern Conference Finals before us. So they rookies or like
I feel like Jason Tatum had to go through him and Jalen Brown.
Like, so far this man has beat KD and Kyrie. He's beat Giannis, and he's about to beat the Heat and have to take on the Warriors. And will he win? I don't know, but you gotta give him credit for that at least. Like you know what I'm saying? You gotta put some respect on him.
Who you got?
My Celtics, man. You already fucking know. We in the building.
You the hell out of here. Hey, you know, young Boston. Right, yeah. I know, man. Al, who you got? I mean, I know you used to be nice back then.
Yeah. I'm going with my man. Yeah, I'm just going with
Boston. So if y'all lose, you owe him money, and then
Oh, hold on now. I'm gonna have to overcharge some people. Yeah.
No services.
Yeah, 300 or it's 300. Yeah, it's like no, man.
Whoever gave you the money. That's on you.
All right, yeah.
Same payment plan.
Now obviously we gotta sand it down a little bit. I don't think we got a chance to talk about it too much last week, but obviously like recapping Buffalo again.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
It was another shit.
We'll get to that too.
I mean, we could just talk about it in general.
Go ahead.
To be honest, I don't know too many details about each of those.
Of course.
Like I've heard.
I usually use these sessions to try to find out. So honestly, while y'all talking, I got y'all. Yeah. So niggas ain't just black.
I don't want to say nothing.
I know the one in Buffalo was, the supermarket. They say it was definitely racially motivated, white supremacists. There's one in the school just had it.
Elementary, right?
Elementary.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
14 kids got
They said 14 kids.
the staff were
And the teacher.
and then the shooter ended up shooting his grandmother before he shot him.
Yeah, so he was sick. Like he shot his grandmother on the way to kill some kids. Like he's sick.
Like a high school.
18-year-old?
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
And like the thing that's like, it's sad.
You want to
anyways.
graduate? You want to get his diploma?
Yeah.
Wow.
You ain't got it down.
Yeah, you damn sure got it down. But nah, I just say, the thing, it's really sad when life is lost, senselessly lost.
Yeah.
I think it's extra sad when you look when it's children, you know, when it's like, cause you know, when we look at like, I always think about like, you know, think about the school system, think about kids, you know, and elementary kids, they're so young. Sometimes they don't even understand like life as we know it right now.
I mean, I used to be a teacher. I'm like, I used to work with kids a lot, and so that shit really hit me. Like, I could have been like, they shoot up schools a lot.
Yeah, and it's
like kids, like
it's unfortunate because they're the future. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that we're doing currently, the stuff that we get the opportunity to do, you know, and so on, and you know, God willing, we keep going. You know, it's like they've only dreamed about it, and that is really, 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 really sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Who the hell are you to take that away?
Yeah,
and also you think about these kids, like they were like young, like 7 or like to 10. So they're like 3rd grade. So think about it, like this is really their first time really going to school. Because before that, it was COVID, pandemic. So 1st, 2nd, kindergarten, you're not really in school.
They were right at the beginning of their journey as far as like who am I?
Like, you know what I'm saying? When you first, like most of your growing up kid memories, like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I still remember 3rd grade. They, you know, as far as like playing with friends and stuff like that. So yeah. That's really, really sad. So you know.
So what's the solution?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
And I think that the answer to that question kind of lies on, I guess, how you feel about. I feel like it relies on kind of 2 things. Like 1, how you feel about like mental health, and 2, how you feel about like guns and stuff like that.
I mean,
that's nuanced.
It's both. I mean, it's partially legislation that they have not passed or won't pass, or I mean, it happened in Texas. So anybody get a gun in Texas. You could walk in Texas, any gun store, at 17, 18, and be like, "Yo, let me get an AR-15," and they'll be like, "Here you go." But you can't do that in like New York. You can't get no gun in New York. You caught with a gun in New York, you going to jail.
But here's what I like to say, like, and this is just a statement. Well, first, you know, thoughts and prayers to the families of those children. You know, just to get that out. So I'm sorry for your loss and everything like that. Also, too, like, you just gotta think about it. Like, you kind of said it before. The negative, you know, like outweighs the positive. You know, like, but like, people can do a lot. So like, I remember, I think we were kind of talking about it one day. I was like, think about how technically easy it is, like, you know, for someone to, like you said, in Texas, they can just go up, like, get a gun, and then, like, who's to stop? Because, like, you don't think about someone coming into school and just shooting a bunch of kids.
Until it happens.
Yeah, until it actually, and then it's after the fact, and here we are talking about it. So it's like, dang, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it, like, in some ways, you can't stop it unless you completely try to prevent it.
I would
deter.
I would bring up this example. So like, take 9/11. Like nobody ever thought of like planes crashing into like skyscraper buildings until it happened.
Right.
But then once when it happened, they started making the rules stricter on who can get licensed to drive planes, or even the airport rules of like how it is like
TSA,
like that. So I feel like definitely legislation and laws are definitely
more prevention.
To make it just more difficult. Not to say that it'll never happen again, but I feel like the more steps you gotta go through, it will discourage some people from doing it. Like
Right. Yeah.
It's like with the FDA, like how they monitor like certain drugs, like where you just can't get them. It's not to say that people still won't get them, but it discourages the average Joe from just being like, I'm just going to the store and just start buying all the stuff I need to cook mess. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully, you know, and one would hope that, like, as far as, you know, I don't know why this person did this, you know, terrible thing to do, but like, hopefully we can kind of like make an environment of love, you know, I'm gonna take the peace aspect and like try to, you know, like touch people early as far as like, so some people don't turn into the monster to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean?
That's why I say I think mental health is such a big part of that.
Oh yeah, it's bigger now than it's.
And it's that culture, like those conversations have definitely grown, but there's still like a stigma around it by, you know, I feel like certain generations, it's still like a little bit of a stigma of like, okay, like only people that like need help, but it's like, how do you can't always tell if somebody needs help because some people can master it better. So
He agrees.
Yeah.
She agrees.
So I feel like with mental health is like, I feel like even in like all the schools, like I feel like if we had more of a budget to put towards getting more counselors and therapists, like I feel like kids should be able to regularly just go in and have like meetings and stuff like that with counselors and therapists. And even like, not even if a kid is showing signs, like just a regular, like, you know, just come in, like even if everything is normal, like it's going fine, just come in and like, you know, just get better at like expressing what you're going through, like, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm gonna say, actually, this is something that you said. Quote my man Jesse, yeah. No, it was like, you know, it's like you were to have like a doctor and like line everybody up. Like, I'm pretty sure
everybody got something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, everybody got something.
Everybody has, you know, different things that they go through. Like, and I remember like being a kid and like suffering from depression and things like that, and even having like suicidal thoughts. It's like growing up and like, you know, you don't always learn how to process that. And so like my parents, they're from a generation where it's like, okay, you just push through it. So like we never had those conversations of like how to be open, like how to really express yourself. And like sometimes like you have emotions and you don't even know how to express them when you're that age. So like I feel like what a lot of people like they end up doing, like those kids that like end up, you know, lashing out in those violent acts and stuff, it's like they're going through so many things and it's like they have no real outlet to how to express those things that they're going through.
And physically, it's like physically doing something is technically the easiest part of it. Like the mental and emotional side is the toughest part. It's real, I mean, you know, as far as if everything's working, your body's physically able, you can pick up this bottle. But like, you know, like as far as like thinking about like, you know, like, okay, like what are the consequences of my actions and how do I feel about this and all that, that's the more complex thing. So like sometimes like you said, unfortunately, it's like an outlet. A terrible way, you know, to like what.
I mean, like you still gotta hold that person accountable for.
Yeah, no. We're not saying don't. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, you can't.
But at the same time, it's like trying to look at it like it's just an open dialogue conversation. It's just like, all right, you gotta be like, we gotta, if we're gonna prevent things from happening, then we gotta start like really cracking down on like, all right, like what are people really going through? Like, because a lot of times teachers, they're understaffed, so like when they're in the school, they don't have time to really get to know whatever.
Yeah, if you're a teacher, they expect teachers to be the psychiatrist, the security guards, the parents, you're cook, clean, like helping
5 cents on the dollar.
like bro, like exactly. So that's just like it's the whole school education system. So
it needs to change.
It needs reformation. It needs to be reformed. Like it needs to be like we need to overhaul a lot of things. Like
I have a little bit of insight as far as like, and I know you do because you said you're a teacher. Like, cause my mom, you know, she taught. So like she was kind of saying like one thing that I kind of saw, you know, being a teacher's son was like, oh, like a lot of like administration and things puts a lot on the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like the kids, but the teachers. Yeah,
absolutely.
like, and it's like, what? Like, if a kid gets below a D or if a kid gets a D or lower, then the teacher has to write why the kid doesn't do their work. And like, you know, and I'm not saying.
It's all on the, it's a lot of people that's got to take accountability and responsibility. Like, you know what I'm saying? Parents and administration. Like,
bro, like what?
Like the teachers are the ones who are just in the classroom who have to do what they say, like do what the administration says. So if they say, all the kids is gonna do this, then the teacher's like, all right, well kids, y'all gotta do this.
Right.
And then sometimes they don't even be giving them the means to do that. Like
absolutely, like a lot of teachers, like especially the teachers that are good and really care about their job and care about their students, a lot of times they're taking money out of their own paycheck to put back.
Those are the teachers who care the most get work the most. Like if you're a good teacher, you're taking on the brunt of like some other teachers that's not good teachers work. Like you're doing their
you know what's crazy about that is like that same mindset translates into even like jobs, like people working in jobs. Like the hardest working people or people that are more dedicated to the job often have to carry the slack for the people that's like not really that invested in the job.
And it's a totally different, like, when you want to talk about, like, are you getting compensated for what you're worth or what you're actually doing? That's a totally different job than, like, what you're actually, like, the job itself.
Yeah,
and you're getting compensated. Yeah, you have to negotiate the pay and, like, you have to
jump through a lot of hoops, or you just might not get it just because, oh, well, sorry. So like, and that's tough. That's really tough because it's a separate thing. Like,
and I think especially after the pandemic and like so many parents had to have their kids at home and like do Zoom. Like I feel like a lot of parents got a chance to like for the first time experience like, oh, this is really how responsible the teachers are for your students, like keeping them educated, making sure they behave, making sure like
when I was tutoring at while there was pandemic. And these, like, they was not coming to class. Like, you can call the parents and say, hey, your kid's not on Zoom. Can you please tell them to come get on Zoom? And the parent will be like, I'm not at home. Sorry.
But
or they'll be like, yeah, okay, sorry.
And that plays a huge part of it. Like, parents that are going to be, like, I feel like in a different version of society, because I know they do this in, like, certain Spanish countries, where it's like, they all, like, the parents and, like, the students, like, the whole country basically goes on lunch break at the same time. Everybody has lunch together. Like, people leave school, go home, they do their recreational activities. Yeah, it's like you get the chance to really get to see what's going on with your kids. Like if your kid skips, like, you would know because, like, all right, they're supposed to be at lunch, like, at home at a certain time of the day, every day. So it's like you kind of get a better idea of what's going on with them. Like, so I think that's something that we can incorporate into America, where it's like, parents is being more involved in the kids' lives, like really just knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
I guess we can get these shoutouts and we can get up out of here. We can start with you. We'll go around the table. Even in June, we're still going through this now.
Y'all, what in absolute? Y'all have been sitting, chilling, relaxing. Your 1099, your W-2s, your 1095 BACs. Y'all are chilling. Your stimulus payment letters. Y'all are relaxing at home. Y'all need to stop playing with the IRS. Y'all need to go ahead and get your tax documents. And where do they need to go, Jesse?
It's this dude we know. His dad owns some type of company, and it's like, it's a gym, ain't it? Because it's like physical fitness.
I got you, brother. I got you. And I'm walking there and exercise, but yeah.
That's a walking. Yeah. Broken down the 64 Nova. Right. You don't fit me too far.
Fiscal Fitness Tax and Financial Services. Derek L. Alford is the CEO and founder. My pops, love you, Dad. Y'all, please.
I got a huge problem with that business.
Tighten
I'm getting calls from a certain number.
Hey, tighten up.
There's a truck outside my house.
Hey, don't worry about it. We'll handle it. Yeah. Y'all come on in.
That PPP loan.
No, for real. But y'all come on in. It's at 2650 Hall Street. It's at the intersection of Hall and Midlothian Turnpike near Southside Plaza, right across the street from Citgo. Fiscal Fitness Tax and Financial Services. Y'all.
In the corner of the right there on the right side.
Right, exactly.
And depending on if it's bright outside or if it's dark.
But y'all, go ahead, send your stuff in, y'all. You definitely, obviously, you're past the deadline now.
Nigga, they gonna start collecting taxes for next year. Goddamn it. It's getting. It's getting.
But hey, like I said, we will get you taken care of. I want to thank every single client who's come in, called, made an inquiry, all of that, left a review. Y'all have been extremely patient. Thank you. It's been very busy. Business has been good. So, Dad, I'm proud of you. Shout out to my mom. She's even been helping out.
So that 804 podcast, private jet should be coming through.
Yeah. Right after the tax season.
The DJ.
Alright, so are we getting paid for this interview?
y'all. Love you and my sister. Yeah.
Somebody's big birthday coming up.
Yeah. Happy birthday to my father. He got a little celebration. That's it.
What y'all signs?
When was that?
What y'all signs? What's y'all signs?
Gemini. And it's about that time, you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that y'all need to wait, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying? We just gonna burn the shit down, you know what I mean, yeah, maybe July y'all might get a crack at it, but you know what I mean, right now, you know what I mean, we gotta turn up real quick.
Yeah, we sit back and watch all the shit go down.
Hey man, say man, clean up crew.
I'm a Capricorn.
Oh my God, nah. A Capricorn would say that. Yeah,
I'm a Capricorn. Yeah.
We actually judge people by how they act, and human beings. Yeah, something crazy. What is?
I'm a Scorpio, but I don't know. People always say they don't see me as a Scorpio.
I was saying, that's
How's Scorpio supposed to be like?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay, bro, come on, bro. That's why you gotta watch out for him, man.
That was a girl, don't cheat on her, because she gonna.
I know they say Scorpios to me.
She gonna get revenge.
But I don't think I'm me.
I'll say.
I say all my friends are Scorpios be like the most promiscuous friends I have. Before they find a good person in their life, they just run through the whole thing.
Hey, it's the family show, right?
My bad.
I'm waiting.
Birds in the
I ain't got too much. Obviously, two guys here. Even Flash even helped out this one time in Richmond, episode 3. That's a short film with everybody with tunes. We had so many actors, so many different scenes. Shout out to Johnny too. He helped us out.
Our guy.
Shout out to Floaty. That was them two beeping the whole time. Yeah, they was guy getting it at it right.
That's the homie Flo.
Man, took his phone back, took his phone, got another phone, right, and then it went down.
Your boy.
So that
Shout
was
out to Corey Jot and Boudanero.
yes, like I said, I almost forgot, like when I made that post, I had to remember how many people was in it. Like I had to really go back and be like, damn, like they were, shit, I was even in it. I've never been in a production of mine before, I think. So, unless it's like a skit or something like that, so that was tough. That was more to come type shit. Appreciate, Daydream. Appreciate you come in. That's not a wine, right? Yeah, that's not a wine. So next, all right, what you got?
Big project coming up soon.
Grinding.
Everyone, I want y'all to, say a couple prayers for my youngest brother. He just got in a car accident.
Carl.
Prayers up.
Prayers for Carl.
We love you, C. He's living in Atlanta.
Hey, that's lit.
Luckily, he's
He's good though, right? Yeah, I forget. Yeah, he's alright. Yeah, he probably walked out of the car like, yeah, Brian.
They don't podcast will shout me out. You always say, I might have a bruise. But I should be alright. Yeah, he's like, you know what? I can't go yet.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
My brother's got me.
another project, big project coming soon.
Big
grinding, man.
It has been
grinding.
Luck, there's no space on my computer. Just know.
That's how real it is.
It really is no space on my computer.
Get that external hard drive, bro.
I just had to get another little terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
You would think niggas rap. Yeah, we just recording videos.
Hey, that's what we're
just trying out here.
Videos stick on board.
Yeah, the album? Yeah, no, I just got this footage.
Yeah.
Straight B-roll.
It's 30 minutes of B-roll.
Terabytes worth. 100 minutes of Alright, 90 minutes of
Definitely been grinding though. Definitely been getting to it. Been learning a lot too.
Yeah.
The filming is not even the hardest part. It's gonna be the editing part. And that shit is.
Yeah, at all. Yeah.
We're going to do some taxes real quick.
Let me go find the
Shout out these guys, Alex and Jesse. HB Nose came out.
Facts.
He's been doing it.
Shout out let the picture up. But yeah, shout out Richmond too, man. They're just taking us, you know, I mean, all the places we've been.
Yeah, shout out Richmond.
Yeah, shout out Richmond, man. Like,
Shout out to the city. I feel like people gotta really start showing love to the city, man. You gotta appreciate what you got, where you at, man. Who you got, like, you know what I'm saying? You can go somewhere else, okay, the world. You can go wherever you want, like.
Same love.
Yeah, it's not the same as when you get jumped by your own home. By your own home. It's all love, man. I know everybody in Converse.
Hey, you anything down there, bro? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, man. I've never heard that line before. I might have to write that one.
That's all right. That's all right.
I might get it.
Ain't out there, Mike.
No, but just you're gonna see us around the summer filming, you know, a lot more.
Yeah.
Whether it's this project and J1D1 Films, you know.
Absolutely, keep us in touch. You know, we'll be around.
I'm trying to get some more on-camera appearances.
Dude, we just talking about it on camera, man. Like, we love the experience y'all.
Bro, we gotta do some collabs. Like, we do some music videos, some skits. We be having skits and like all types of stuff in our music videos. So next time, like, just know, like,
you just gotta, have a bad girl, you know what I mean, turn it down, out, smushing a pie in his face, yeah, that's classic, yeah, that's usually his role, man, you know, he comes on a resume, I am the Negro with the pie I have, my man, works every time. Hey, if you get paid, go to charge again,
we just did a video with the Cash Out Loud video, and I got King Smash in my face, so I'm gonna keep you on.
My guy.
So you're taking that one next time.
I'm gonna take that one. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? You gotta pay with it. But of course, for you know, we can't all be Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm
my young Denzel.
We can't all be Michael B. Jordan. Someone's got to be Michael C. Jordan.
God, Michael Jordan go, what's over there? Michael C. Jordan.
Like I see Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Michael S.E.E.
You see, S.E.E.
I'm weak,
And then you got one Addison. Yeah, Drew, you got any shout outs, man?
I would like to shout out, let me shout out my cousin, and she's an up and coming artist named Razi. I'm so proud of her. She just graduated from high school.
That's all the graduates.
Yeah, that's all the graduates.
That's all the graduates. College, high school, middle school. Yeah.
Kindergarten.
Yeah. GED.
Them doctors.
Romeo, Master P, Rap Snaps. Just shout out.
All that shit is good.
You guys got graduated from Rap Snaps.
So you know what I'm saying? Shout out everybody.
Of course. You got anything, Flash?
I think we shot. I don't know if I got no shout outs for real.
Actually, with that, anything coming? Anything?
I
say any exclusive. You know what I mean? Yeah, exclusive.
I mean, honestly, I'm sitting on a lot of music with a lot of different artists. Like a lot of artists in the city. Like we got some stuff. I'm never just gonna drive everybody's name out there. I should, so maybe they get on the ass so they put some songs out.
Talk to them.
But you know what I'm saying? Y'all might want to start pressing these people. Like, yo, y'all need to get in with Flash. Maybe Logan. You know, all these artists that y'all know be like, yo, Flash hit you with some beats. You ain't get on them. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we got a lot of stuff in the works.
Yeah, I would say right now, an upcoming project for me is I'm doing a play. I got my first play finally approved at Firehouse.
Hey!
So that's a long time, but we're doing like our first reading for it this June. So it's a lot of hard work. Got to put it all together to find actors and all that stuff.
Let us know if you need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said pie face. You can't tell me to squeeze that. I don't as long as it's not chocolate. Yeah, it's like my client can't work under the air. It's like, for sure, that's what's up.
But lastly, we'll talk and I got
Alright, you got anything else, Nick? You ready to take us out?
Well, again, you know, I love you, little brother.
Like your Carl!
Take some Robitussin. Yeah.
That's a big thing, bro.
Yeah.
know he like, y'all niggas is stupid. Yeah. Y'all niggas is
You're gonna cut your Bismo, take a shit, eat a banana, you'll be alright.
Oh, like, we're asking for surgery? Could you please get out of the operator? Yeah. I was just thinking you could just get out. Yeah, like that.
You put a little duct tape on your elbow.
Right. Yeah. Nothing's wrong with that. I know. That's why. Okay. Can we continue with the surgery? Yeah. It's like
Take us out of here for your brother cussing.
lay us out. Right. Send us a meeting letter. Yeah.
It's not going to be him that cusses out. It's probably going to be my father that cusses out.
We're good. Yeah.
But anyway, shout out Daydream, shout out Flash for coming through.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm very glad to have y'all here. Again, I'm Nick.
Jesse.
Alex.
And this is the Eagle 4 podcast.
We out of here.
We out.
Phil here.
Big
facts.
facts.
We have everybody sign.
Big
We
facts.
got our mans. Don't worry about his lower extremities.
Yeah.
His ACL,
Crossed up.
MCL, BCL.
Somebody done signed that.
TCL.
Signed the crotch.
I think that was lunch special.
It might have been.
Yeah, so and y'all know how he did that.
Like he said, I'm gonna make my claim.
Yeah, my territory. Right? Shout out to Lizzo. Right? Go ahead, do your thing.
All right,
Wherever you want.
We're gonna do it right above the kneecaps over here.
Yeah.
Die.
Yeah,
You
big
get-
boy. Daydream.
Saves lives. Yeah.
This is a big ass signature.
Right.
Hancock, the big ass signature.
Okay.
Yes, alright, yeah.
Zoom in on the signature.
Yeah.
We up out of here.
Alright, we are.
So when you realize the YouTube video is 8 hours long.
Yeah.